Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Talkin Wellness, presented by South Florida Wellness Network with a live audience. Yes, we're finally doing it. It's been something we've been talking for a couple of weeks now, but we finally have an actual live audience here with people from or a part or somehow related to South Florida Wellness Network. So we're really happy that this is happening. Today's episode is going to be awesome, but before we get into that, we got some good news about the podcast.
Really good news.
So back before episode 1, when we were sitting down on a table planning this whole thing out, we put a goal for ourselves. We said by the end of the year, we want to reach 200 viewers across the entire YouTube platform, and we want to reach 50 subscribers. We were like, that's a very realistic goal that we think we could reach. Well, because of every single one of you who tuned in every week and listened, we have officially reached across the board 1,000 views.
1,000
views. And I know that for a lot of people that might not be a lot, but for us, it's a huge. We reached our goal. We wanted to reach that, and we demolished it. Our goal was 200.
Yeah, so
I don't know what percentage that is, but we demolished it.
Oh,
so
yeah, absolutely.
We're going on a right track, right?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of subscribers, though, we reached 40 subscribers since we started the podcast back in October. So that means we're 10 away from our goal. So we need your guys' help. We have 10 subscribers to officially reach our goal. The holidays are here. Thanksgiving was yesterday. Black Friday is here. You're probably with your family. The holidays in December start coming around. Share with your family. Share with your friends. We want to reach 50 by the end of the year, and we need your support to do it. Because this is a community, right? This is a Talkin Wellness family, and you're as much a part of it as anybody here in the studio. So please, please, please support us by doing that. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. But let's get on to what we're talking about today, which is gratitude.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to title this an attitude of gratitude. That's going to be the title of this episode. We got a whole lot to talk about gratitude. Yesterday was Thanksgiving, so we thought why it was kind of appropriate, right? Let's talk about what it means to give thanks, and we got a couple of interesting things. But Kayla, you shared with me something really awesome that I think we should definitely talk about. Please go ahead and take charge.
Awesome. Yeah. So just in light of the season, right? Thanksgiving just happened. November is usually that time of the month where everyone's like, what are we grateful for? And having that attitude of gratitude. But we really want to highlight how gratitude can actually have a long-lasting impact on our brains, right? Mm-hmm. Having that attitude of gratitude constantly and consistently can actually impact your neurological, the neurochemistry in your brain. And so I actually did some research, neuroscience of gratitude, and gratitude can be a natural antidepressant. When we take the time to ask what we are grateful for, certain neural circuits are activated. Production of dopamine and serotonin increase, and these neurotransmitters then travel neural pathways to the bliss center of the brain, similar to the mechanisms of many antidepressants. Practicing gratitude, therefore, can be a way to naturally create some of the same effects of medications and create feelings of contentment. It gets better. The more you stimulate these neural pathways through practicing gratitude, the stronger and more automatic they become. On a scientific level, this is an example of Hebb's law, which states neurons that fire together wire together. But it's also something you can see plainly in everyday life. If you're forging a new path through the woods, the first trip is the most challenging, and you have to be deliberate. But the more times that path is traveled, the more defined it becomes, and the easier it is to follow it. Your brain works in the same way. So the more times a certain neural pathway is activated, so the neurons are like firing together, the less effort it will actually take to stimulate that pathway the next time. So the neurons are then wiring together. Because of this, what we put our attention on grows. If we constantly looking at the negative and searching for problems, the neural pathways for negative thinking become stronger. But practicing gratitude can actually shift our attention to look for what is going right instead of looking for problems to solve. Over time, this encourages our brains to more consistently search for the constructive themes in our life instead of the destructive ones, helping us water the flowers instead of watering the weeds.
Ooh, I like that. Can we get a sticker of that? Oh my God.
Right? I just imagine that, but how powerful is that, right? Like gratitude actually, there's been scientific studies that link it to changing like the chemistry and the wiring of your brain.
It makes plenty of sense when I think about it. I mean, when I think about the most important thing or most important trait someone could have in their life, like as far as a friend or someone that I can know, is being grateful. You know, grateful of me being in their life, grateful of the things they've had, grateful of mercies that are upon their life. So like gratitude is extremely important as a trait to have as a person, to be an upstanding person, to be someone that's going to be in, you know, a civilization that people are going to look up to and be like, I want to be around these type of people, you know? So like, I can't speak more upon gratitude and how important it is to develop that trait, you know?
Yeah.
It's funny because, you know, from a young age, we're kind of, especially towards Thanksgiving time, we're taught from a young age, well, what are you thankful for?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when I was young, that was kind of a silly thing to really talk about. Like, okay, I'm thankful just to be here, you know, I guess. But as time has been going on, I've really noticed and found value. So I really relate to everything you just read about, because it's true. Whenever I give thanks to someone or whenever I express any gratitude towards someone I really care about, it comes from a place of love, but the response is always an affectionate one as well.
Yeah.
You know, I've never said thank you to someone and their reaction is, ugh. You know?
Yeah.
It's like I say thank you and they're like, oh no, it's okay, man. I appreciate you saying thank you, or something like that, right? So I love that. I kind of want to open up the conversation. In your life, would you be willing to share a time where you really had to demonstrate, or really you shared some gratitude and it really did a positive thing in your life? Like, how has gratitude affected you in your life?
I mean, gratitude is, I mean, I can just give a few examples recently in my life how gratitude has affected me, you know, like as far as working in video and doing jobs and being a good person. Obviously, you know, be a person that people want to work around. But when you're grateful for these opportunities and you do your best and you I think grateful is accepting, part of gratitude is accepting that people are giving you something or people are doing something that they don't necessarily need to do sometimes. Yeah. So I think that's, for me, I always think about that. Like when someone hits me up for a job, someone hits me up for something, it's like they didn't have to reach out to me. So that is the first thing that comes to mind as far as gratitude. So that automatically fuels me and it empowers me to do better in that work. So as far as gratitude, it amplifies my level of performance in whatever I'm doing, because ultimately that's the first thing I think of, that I go to when people offer me work, when people do things for me, you know, offer me food, different things. It just makes me want to do that in a more aggressive way, or do that more myself, you know. The more people do it show gratitude towards my life and towards me as a person, the more I just want to be a better person, 100%. And I think that's the one thing that like people can do. Maybe it's a love language of mine.
Yeah.
That like really changes my opinion of them, or how the relationship could be between each other, you know, how they treat the relationship without expecting anything.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, I think my journey of gratitude, actually, it brings me back to like my beginning stages and journey into like wellness and recovery. And for me, gratitude was one of the most important foundations, because my life was like in an array. Like it was chaos. It was a lot of uncertainty. I didn't feel like I had everything that I wanted at that time or needed in my life, and not like materialistic, but more so like my state of mind, the conditions that I was in, and some of the circumstances that I was in. And so it was really easy for me to go to like that dooms thinking of just like, gosh, there's like, life is hard, life sucks, like, you know, how am I gonna get through this and all this stuff. And I had a mentor that actually really put gratitude in my practice, and she told me every single day when I wake up, I need to write a gratitude list, and that I need to write at least 5 things that I'm grateful for. And so every morning that I would wake up, even though like my life was not where I wanted it to be, I started to begin to write things that I was grateful for. And it was like the basics, right? Like today I'm alive, right? Today I have people in my life that love me. You know, my family. I'm always like, my son always is like the top of that list, you know, of gratitude. And I did this religiously every single day, to where I can tell you, like now I'm 7.5 years into my recovery journey. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do is give thanks. And I do that gratitude list. I don't have to write it down, but I can actually speak it out. It's
and that's what I was going to say. Like gratitude is very linked with prayer too.
Yeah.
When you think about it. When
very
prayer every day at the end of the day is being grateful for mercies and stuff like that. So like if you carry that on to your obviously not spiritual world, then you're gonna be. I think you'll do great in life. You know, on that aspect. So.
Yeah.
For me, it had an interesting impact because I grew up in church. I was going to Bible school from a very young age, you know, and part of what they teach you is they ingrain you with the idea that you should be thankful to God. You should be thankful to God, right? So when I was younger, it was a iffy thing for me because I didn't appreciate the constant like you should be thankful even though you're sad. You should be thankful. Like so, I to be honest, for me it was a little bit of a thankful. Took a while to really be something important in my life.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started really talking to some of my closest friends and my family in regards to how, you know, my personal journey with my feelings, with struggling with some feelings of depression and stuff like that, is when I really started noticing the value of giving thanks, right? And it turned from a conversation of like, oh, okay, thank you, into a, no, I'm here, you know? And I think it all came full circle when I was in middle school, and I had a friend attempt to take his life. And when that happened, I think I've talked about this. I first took it kind of like a joke because I really didn't understand what it meant. I was in middle school, but then when it was explained to me what had happened and the how big it was,
the severity, yeah.
The severity of it. Thank you. It's when I finally noticed that okay, maybe there are things in life that are worth being thankful for.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm here. I have never attempted. I have never suffered through the pain of losing a family member through such a tragic event, right?
Yeah.
So, and it kind of goes back to what we've been talking about since our first episode, is there's a lot of things in the world that are happening, things we can't control, but focusing on the good of the world, the things that are positive in your life, at least for me, has created a mentality switch.
Yeah.
It went from that past feeling of like, oh, I gotta give thanks today, to literally like you, I wake up and I say, the first thing I'd say, God, thanks for waking me up today.
Yeah.
Because I know that people didn't wake up today, you know?
It almost gives you like a sense of hope, you know? Like being grateful creates a sense of hope because it's like we are no longer concentrating on the have-nots or like the challenges and the problems and all those things that are there and most often are out of our control, but we're focusing on the haves, right? Like what do I still, yes, this is going on and it sucks, and yet I am still grateful because, you know? So it's like not to, because I feel you on the like telling people, oh, just be grateful. Like that would piss me off too, right? Like I'm going through a really hard time and they're like, well, you have so much to be grateful for and blah, blah, blah. And I've probably been guilty of it like as a mom, you know, because you want your kids to understand like, hey man, it's not that big of a deal. Like there's so much to be thankful for. But I think it's just having that aspect of saying like, you know what, there could be struggle and gratitude and they can coexist in the same moment.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I mean, similar to what you were saying, I don't think you can be grateful in life until you've gone through a bit of struggle.
Yeah.
You know? Or at least you can appreciate gratitude.
Yeah.
I can have a very fairy tale life and have everything go for me. I'm never really going to appreciate the things that are given to me until, you know, things are taken away, or maybe I never had them. And then you're going to be a lot more grateful for them.
You're so right.
I've had a lot of struggles in my life, and I'm really at a great place in my life now where because of those struggles before, I can realize how blessed, how merciful, how great my life is, even though it's not where I want it to be still, you know? And that's another thing. That's another thing. People are always going to have their own mentalities and whether they're happy with life and whether they need to be where they need to be. But that's completely besides the point of gratitude.
Yeah.
You can continue to be grateful every day and work towards what you're trying to get to. And that's kind of where I am, you know? And I've felt that I've been able to be more efficient in my things and work and whatever because of gratitude, because of the mentality that I'm going into with these things. Instead of, I'm not where I need to be, I'm not grateful for these opportunities. Like, imagine if you're saying, I'm not where I want to be, I'm not making the money I want, I don't have the job I want to do, da, da, da. All of that is a lack of gratitude, obviously. And what does that do for your mindset? And for what you're gonna do with those things that you're actually given,
Makes
or the
you feel like you're
opportunities
never
that
enough.
it
makes you feel like it's
and
never
then when you
enough.
actually do get the opportunities, what are you gonna do with them? You're typically not gonna be in that proper mindset to actually execute them properly, you know. So it's like it's such a mindset thing, and it's something that you really. It takes time, I think, in life. I don't think people are going to be grateful just because you tell them to be grateful, just like you were saying in church. You need an experience in life to be able to show you that, all right, wow, this is why I'm grateful. Like, you can have a terrible, terrible day at work, have a horrible time. You're struggling with your kids, or talking to your family. But at the end of the day, you say a prayer at night, and you're like, I'm thankful for this breath. Because without that breath, you couldn't have any of that, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, gratitude is just, it's such a simple thing, but it rules over the whole entirety of our lives. And if you focus on that simple thing, that I think your life will be so much better, for sure. I think it's such an important trait. Like, obviously it's a topic for today, and I can say every topic that we're bringing up is an important trait, but I truly believe gratitude is like one of the most important things you can have as a person.
For sure. And I don't think it should be just celebrated in the month of November. You know, I think that
100%.
making it like
100%.
a daily practice.
Yeah.
I even have I have transferred that to my child, because I realized how powerful gratitude was in my life. Because you're right, a lot of my life experiences, I'm grateful today that there was a time in my life where I lost everything. I mean, I was at the bottom of the bottom. I can look back now in gratitude because of where it's brought me now in my life, 7.5 years later.
And it makes you appreciate where you are way more than you would ever be.
The things that I appreciate today, I would not appreciate the way I appreciate it had I not walked through some of that struggle and some of that suffering. You know, let's be real. Like, there was suffering. Some of it was self-inflicted. Some of it is, things out of my control. But walking through that and now having a sense of like, man, like, it is truly by God's grace alone that I am here today. And I understand that, And so starting my day off with that gratitude, really all it does is it sets my day up to say, you know what, like, I'm abundantly blessed. No matter what happens today, I can walk through that knowing, like, man, I already have more than enough. And it's not because of materials or this. All of that stuff's great, it's like having the job and all this stuff. But it's more so of like, man, I have breath in my lungs. I am able, right? Like, I can look at, like, my capabilities.
Yep.
And just for me today in my life, it's so much more about, like, the relationships and the love that I have around me. Because those things for me is like, man, that's what I've been searching for my whole life, but to receive that and know that and embody that is something I'm extremely grateful for.
Yeah.
I do want to make a point that obviously we're talking from standpoints of people that, we've had our difficulties in life, but there's people that have a lot of things going on. There's people that are growing up in war territories. There's people that are growing up in a lot of places where it is a lot harder to be grateful. So I definitely want to at least take a moment to speak for those people, or not speak for them because I never could, but at least mention those people and, like, let's keep a prayer out for those people and, like, realize that, gratitude is extremely important, but there are people that grow up in places where it is so hard to be grateful. You grow up in circumstances so hard to be grateful, where you can grow up here and maybe you're sexually assaulted or whatever it is. There's so many things that it's hard to develop that mindset of gratitude because you never have something to be thankful for. Or they feel that, at least. So I definitely want to mention those people. And, like, if you guys ever want to reach out to us or talk to us or whatever, send us a DM. Like, we'll leave our Instagrams or our whatever you guys need to reach out to us. Just shoot a message in our comments or whatever. And we want to hear from you guys. We want to, like, be able to share your stories or whatever, and at least be able to advocate for you in whatever way we can. Cause
and if not share your stories, at least give you a listening ear.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Thank you for mentioning that.
No, for sure. Because I think, obviously we, like, I don't want to minimize any of our struggles. So we've all been through stuff, 100%. But I think there's people that they've been through struggles that we could never put ourselves in the shoes of. And I think it's important to talk about, or at least mention them,
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But back to what you were saying, Chris.
Yeah. So I want us to move into something a little more lighthearted. So I was looking on the internet trying to find some interesting things to talk about, and I actually found a website, and it says Scientific Facts About Gratitude. It comes from, what's the name? Positive Cyclopedia. That's the website. And it shares a couple of fun facts, and I want us to, open up for discussion to see what we do we not necessarily agree to disagree because it's based
I like
on
fun
science facts, but just our opinions on stuff like that. So here's the first one I found, which I think it could bring up some fun debate. Women are more grateful than men. A national survey on gratitude, which polled over 2,000 Americans, found that women tend to be more grateful than men. Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. Gosh, I just knew it. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for solidifying that fact. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm grateful for your comments.
I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting one, huh?
I mean, I think if you...
It's because we birth children. We do really hard things.
That's true.
No, I agree.
You do. I think it also comes down from a perspective that I think in America, our society, men aren't really taught to share their emotions on things.
Well, I think women are more emotional. This is my thought process on it is women tend to be more emotional creatures, emotional humans, and when you think about like the journey of a woman, like we are like motherhood, like we go through that experience of carrying a child, like, so there's a lot of things that come to mind with like why that could be like what came up in the study, but I think it's also like the manhood of macho.
I think the main reason why the study's probably like that is because back in time to maybe still now, but it's definitely changing. Most things were run on traditional roles. So you had a man that was kind of running the household typically, and the woman that was nurturing, taking care of the family. So they were put in more of a role to be more grateful, I think, of what the man was doing. Not saying that you shouldn't be grateful for women. I think every relationship there's a man and a woman for a reason. They both have their equal parts in what they do for their children and what they do for their family and what they do for the relationship. So I think it's important to acknowledge that. But I think that's the main reason why that stat is off, because of the whole traditional roles and stuff like that.
Maybe, yeah.
But I think it is definitely changing for sure. I think there's a lot of women that are definitely more boss women that are, I mean, there's more women in schools than ever than men by far. It's like 70-something% women in schools.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, degrees, it's like way more women. The thing is, the disparity in like sometimes with money is because of the jobs that women go to. It's typically like teacher stuff or like social skill type stuff, and men usually go in STEM, which is science, technology, education as well, and math, or engineering and math. So like that's typically where like the wage disparities come in. Mm-hmm. But as far as like working and everybody being more equal, I think it's never been more equal than it ever has today.
More women in STEM, absolutely.
100%.
100%.
But even there are more women in STEM than there ever have been. It's just
you just gotta keep it.
It's
up.
just that's just the
we're
jobs
just more
that men.
grateful. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
It's such an interesting question.
Yeah. Here's the next one, which I also think is pretty interesting, because we can't necessarily agree with it, but most people in regular commonplace probably can.
Okay.
People are less likely to express gratitude at work than anywhere else. I think that's a little bit different here at South Florida Wellness Network, because we are literally taught from the first day, wellness tools, and gratitude is part of those wellness tools. However, in regular commonplace
McDonald's.
I honestly,
I'm not grateful.
And practicing gratitude there.
I don't think it's about being taught. Don't get me wrong. I think being taught wellness tools and all of that is great. I will tell you my number one reason why I think that is because we are in purpose. I think that gratitude linked with purpose in the workplace, or gratitude is linked with purpose in the workplace. It is hard to be grateful if every day you're spending 8 to 10 hours of your day doing something that doesn't create purpose and meaning in your life.
Yeah, you truly don't feel grateful. You're not going to be grateful. You're going to be like, I hate this job. I'm not grateful.
Yeah.
But, that's a dangerous precedent still, because it's like, not always are you going to be able to do the things that you want to do sometimes. You got to learn to be disciplined and sit down and buckle down. But, I mean, that's where you got to find the balance in life and figure out what you're willing to accept.
Because even if you're starting, that's your starting point. It doesn't have to be your ending point. I think what happens is people lose hope when they think, this is it for me, and it doesn't have to be that way. There was a study about this, about, like, with your job is finding... Like, truly, it's comparing, like, doing what you love. Not saying that everything you're going to do at work, you're going to love it, but it's, if there's meaning and purpose in it, then psychologically, the way that it impacts your brain over time compared to somebody who goes to work and is miserable and doesn't like it, it actually will be not good for their brain. So there was like a study that I was reading on about this, and how then that's why they say it's like so important to, if you're in that space, you know, start to do some of that self-reflection and look for ways to find meaning and purpose in what you do.
Okay.
I'm only going to do a couple more because I wanted to give us enough time for the last activity we're going to do. Gratitude is good for your cholesterol. U.S. San Francisco professor Wendy Berry Mendez is investigating the healthy effects of gratitude, and her preliminary findings show that grateful people have higher good cholesterol and lower bad cholesterol, as well as lower blood pressure. One of the reasons for this might be that gratitude's effects on stress.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, cholesterol, all that is linked to the heart at the end of the day, right?
So, yeah.
So, like...
So it's the heart.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something deep down,
Your
emotionally,
cholesterol's
probably.
bad, you're probably just not grateful enough.
Our bodies
No,
are
I'm just
crazy.
kidding.
Our bodies are crazy things. So, like, mentally and emotionally, we can affect our physical massively. So,
Yeah. So
wouldn't be surprised.
All y'all that ate turkey yesterday and having higher cholesterol.
Was Thanksgiving yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real?
For real, dude.
Yeah.
It's Black Friday.
The holiday.
It's Black Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Thanksgiving was yesterday.
Okay. I thought it was Thursdays all the time.
It is Thursdays all the time. Correct.
Yes.
Correct, because today's Friday. As of this
I'm
episode
tripping.
comes out on Friday.
Oh my goodness.
So, spoiler alert, we're recording this on Tuesday, but we're trying our hardest to say it's Friday, okay? Fine, you caught us. You're welcome. Haha.
It's my fault.
No, that's okay.
No, it's okay.
That's okay. We needed a little clip to put on the story anyways.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the funny clip for the shorts.
Your brain was probably all in shambles just a
Oh,
minute
for sure.
ago.
As soon as I woke up, my brain was in shambles this morning. I'm like,
This Thanksgiving with my family?
I'm like, for real? My mom bought a bunch of plates and stuff. Like, I definitely don't remember any marshmallows and yams
I'm
at my house. Tripping out.
We are messing Mykel.
I thought I
today.
slept through the last 2 days when I woke up. I was like, what the heck?
Jeez.
that was
Oh,
really
my
funny.
gosh. We can't top that. Here's the last one. Gratitude can improve your sleep. In another study, people were asked to keep a gratitude journal every day for 2 weeks. For people with neuromuscular disorders, this exercise improves sleep, among other benefits. They were able to fall asleep faster, sleep longer, and feel more refreshed in the morning. This led Emmons, which is one of the people involved in the study, to conclude, if you want to sleep more soundly, count blessings, not sheep. I love that.
I feel like I sleep more with a sound mind, 100%. Like, when
Absolutely.
my mind is clear and it feels like where it needs to be, I sleep 100% better. So I think adding that, let's say you make a list at the end of the night talking about the things you're grateful and the things that you appreciate, obviously it's going to help clear up your mind and make you feel a little bit more at
like a
ease.
full
At least it
heart.
would me. So
Yeah.
I could see that 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that takes us to the activity that we have for today, which I'm going to let Kayla explain. But it's the reason why we wanted to bring a live audience, because we want to do something really special with you guys. So before we begin, all we ask is that you please take a piece of paper and a pen. Obviously, if you're driving, just do a mental note of what we're going to do. Don't write while you're driving. However, it's Black Friday when this episode comes out, so a lot of you are probably going to be home with a food coma, trying to figure out how to handle the weekend. So
We're about to lower your cholesterol.
We're going to lower your cholesterol, lower your stress, to help you sleep a little bit better, you know. And we're going to do an activity that's going to hopefully help you be a little more grateful this holiday. So,
Yep.
Kayla,
Awesome.
please take it away.
Yes. So what we are going to do is we are actually going to get into our own personal gratitude list. So pull out that piece of paper. So somebody told me this, and it's always stuck with me. Gratitude is a feeling, right? So it's that feeling that we get that we've just been talking about. And Thanksgiving is an action, right? So it's what we do because we feel so grateful. So we are going to ask everyone to just jot down 10 things that you're grateful for.
So for our audience here, please pick a piece of paper. It's over there by those couches over there, and a pen, and let's write it down. So we have finished our lists. We're going to go ahead and share them. We're only going to share 3 for time purposes, but I'll start if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I made a list of 10. However, I kind of want to highlight a couple here. I'm thankful for family. Specifically, my immediate family and my fiance and my close friends that I consider family. I'm very grateful for them and for the support they have given me, especially with everything that I'm doing with my life right now. They have been a wonderful support system, so I'm thankful for them. I am thankful for this job. For me, this job has been a big blessing in my life, and not only is it filling me with a lot of purpose in my life, but it's also giving me some monetary assistance where, for example, for Thanksgiving, I'm going to go to Puerto Rico to see my family. So
awesome.
So this is me in Puerto Rico. Ha ha. But still, it's something that I'm kidding. But this is it's a big blessing, the fact that I can afford something like that. Not only is it filling a purpose, but it's also providing me with money where I can do something.
How often do you find purpose too with work?
Exactly. How often do you find purpose with work?
Exactly.
So it's a huge blessing, and I'm very thankful for that. And the last one I put a couple more, but the one I want to highlight is music. I'm very thankful for music. I'm thankful that people have this throughout the history, they have decided to express their art, their talents, their emotions, their thoughts through music, because a lot of the times through music is where I find a lot of clarity in my mind and a lot of comfort and a lot of stress relief.
Absolutely.
Which is listening to music, and oftentimes I like to call myself a one-person jukebox, because on my phone you'll find anything from metal to opera to classical to alternative pop, whatever. You'll find it on my phone. But it's the reason I have so many different artists is because I love to pick from different genres to things that to me speak to my heart, to my soul, right? I don't listen to music because I think it's fun necessarily only. I listen to music because I look for music that really speaks to me. For example, the rappers that I listen to
connects with you
are people that are talking about messages that I really connect with. The funk music that I listen to, like I love listening to I love when musicians put poetry through their music without even talking. That's one of my favorite things in the world. And you can see it like when you got these artists like John Mayer doing these incredible solos over songs. If you listen, that's his heart. That's his soul speaking through his guitar, and I capture it. I'm like a magnet to that. I love that. So I'm thankful for family, for a job, and for music.
Awesome.
That's
cool.
Some of the things on my list.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll share 3. So I'm really grateful for my faith. It has been the cornerstone of everything good in my life, and it continues to be that hope and the one thing that keeps me going. I'm also extremely grateful for my family, and this year for me has been the restoration of family and relationships. And so I think about my son and his dad and just the restoration that God has done in that, and I'm extremely grateful for that, because we've both walked through a journey of recovery, and I have a resilient child because of that, and he's gotten to see both ends of the stick, and we've come together, and our family is stronger than ever this year, and so very grateful for that.
Absolutely.
And then for me, it's purpose. Getting to live and walk out my purpose every single day has been one of the greatest blessings in my life, and for me, that's people. It's serving others, it's loving others, it's experiencing the love of others, and surrounding myself by just people. And I love that. I just genuinely love that. And so I'm grateful for community. I'm grateful for our community, even here in the podcast. Each person in this room right now, like, I'm grateful for all of you, and what you bring. You bring joy to my life. So those are my 3.
Awesome. We appreciate you too. Mine are very different. Obviously I had family, I had music on mine as well, funny enough. But mine are pretty different. I'm gonna start with my first one, which is my mind. I'm thankful for my mind. And by that, I don't want to seem like very into myself or anything like that, because I'm not. I'm very critical of myself as a person. But I'm thankful for the things that, the way my brain works. my openness. I'm thankful that I'm not super stubborn on certain things, you know, that I'm willing to learn. I'm thankful that over the last 5 years, I've been able to form relationships with my brothers and my mom and different things because of the way I've changed the way I think and the way my brain works. And, you know, I'm thankful for having more of a relationship with myself and my mind. So that's one thing I definitely wanted to say that I'm thankful. And that it's not even for like to give myself credit. It's just, I feel like there's people on earth that are born with minds that continuously get in the way of them, or they continuously put them in bad circumstances, or it's like really hard for them to get out of circumstances. And I feel like in the last couple years, last 3 or 4 years, through prayer and through different things like that and through family, I've been able to get outside of my head and just really change the way I think. So I'm thankful for that openness.
That's so awesome.
The second thing is very just like you know, sports. Sports are something for my life. It's so important because of my ADD. It's helped me to form relationships with friends. All of my best friends to this day are my soccer boys. We all met in high school. We're known as the soccer boys. So like, it's helped me form relationships. It's helped me keep my mind out of like bad places. You know, it's helped me keep my energy in the right places when I was, you know, my mom was going through certain things, or when certain things were happening in my life. It helped me stay out of bad situations. So sports is definitely something that's super important in my life. And I know it's like, may seem like sports, but like it's something I'll always be eternally grateful for. And then the last thing is breath. Just being able to breathe. You know, it's very simple. Obviously, everybody has breath. But I think it's something that's so overlooked every day. And I feel like over the last 10 years, 15 years of my life, it's something I've always somehow returned to. And maybe it's because of my mom's faith and things of going to church, and maybe I've been instilled with that subconsciously. But no matter how many hardships or whatever I go through, I remember like usually on my birthdays, sometimes like I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, I was starting to get sad because I felt like I was getting older, so I would cry on my birthdays. But now I'm like embracing it, obviously age changing. But every birthday, one thing I specifically mentioned is I'm so thankful for breath. I'm so thankful for the ability to have another year of life, to struggle, to like go through pains, to go through like agony and all the stuff that I go through in order to learn. So like breath is like my number one thing. I always think of it in my like every day. I'm like, I'm so thankful I can literally just breathe. I can talk. I can have the ability to change, you know? So like those are my three. They're kind of like different, but
they're beautiful.
They're
it's
awesome.
Amazing. Yeah.
I love your
like,
list.
Thank
almost
you.
like got a little emotional there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great content.
Yeah.
No,
No, but it's funny. Like I said it in the beginning, like gratitude is one of the most important traits you can have, and it's because I truly believe that. Like I truly believe like by me developing that level of gratitude in my life, it's made me so much better of a person, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
So we want to do something fun. We want to allow our audience to respond. So we're gonna switch seats. So Mike, let's get out of here.
Okay, so we have brought 2 special guests that have been in our audience. We've had a live audience today, which has been so incredible. And that wonderful, awesome Cooper that I've been talking about in the past few episodes, that is my son, and he is right here. So Cooper, say hi. And then we also have another incredible person right here. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jordan.
Awesome too. So if whoever wants to start, if you guys want to share your gratitude list.
First?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys touched on a little bit of what I put on my list today, and the first thing that I wrote was experiences. And you know, I was thinking as you guys were talking that it's very easy when things are going well to have gratitude, you know, be grateful for things, and you know, feel like life is going well, but it's in the struggles, you know, that it's a little bit different, you know, where you can find gratitude that maybe that happened to get you to where you're at. And that I've learned like very early on in my recovery journey, and spent most of my life like ungrateful and just in a dark place. And so it wasn't until I was a little bit removed from those experiences that, you know, I was able to kind of look back and realize that it brought me to where I was at, and I was grateful to be there, so that it was a little bit easier when, you know, challenges would come up. that I could find the gratitude and almost like that silver lining, and know that there was light at the end of the tunnel. So that was a big one for me. And then definitely purpose. I think that that's something I searched for my whole life. I didn't know exactly what it was, what it looked like. I just knew that I wanted to have an impact, and so that's how I try to live my life today. Like, how can I have a positive impact on the people that cross my path, that I interact with, whether it's a quick interaction or somebody that I'm working with. I want to be able to leave that behind, and not have people be like, God, I hope she never comes back, so, because there's definitely been those times too.
Me too.
And hopefully I'm removed from that, and don't get to experience that again.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing. I try to impart that also. I have a lot of littles in my life. We talk about kindness and, how our behaviors, our actions have consequences, and that it's up to us, like we can either, make people feel bad or we can make them feel good about themselves, and I think it's important for that younger generation. School's rough, and sometimes I just, I want to, pull them out of school and be like, you don't need to go anymore, we'll teach you over here. So it can be rough and hard for them to be able to express, basic kindness, so
Yeah.
they are doing a great job, though. I just want to add, in case their mothers watch this, put that out there. And then the last one for me is creativity, just the ability to create things. I'm super stoked to decorate for the holiday party. As soon as it was mentioned, I was like, I'm available. I will make myself available for that. And just being able to create things for others. I love handmade gifts. So if I have an opportunity to make something for somebody, I'd much rather that than, going into a store and buying something. And it also is kind of twofold for me because it's a stress reliever. And so I've noticed that when things kind of start swirling and maybe I feel like I'm a little out of control, that's something that'll bring me back. It calms me down, and I'm able to just stay focused on that one thing in that moment. Yeah. I'm not worried about all of the other struggles or challenges that are showing up, but I'm like, okay, what colors am I going to use? It's just that simple sometimes, and just gives me the opportunity to reset, and kind of just bring myself back to calm, and be able to move on with things. And I crave it. Yeah. There's a lot of times I'm like, I need to create something, even if I don't have anyone to give something to, I get my stuff out. Sometimes it's coloring, but for me, my brain needs that. So I can only go a certain amount of time without, creating something, and sometimes I'm coloring, watching Monday Night Football and coloring. So I'm not sure that they go together, but
they do
they
for
do
you.
For me,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So those are my 3.
Thanks for sharing, Jordan. Coop, what are your 3?
Okay, so I have 4.
Okay.
My first one will be family with my mom and my dad, because without my mom and my dad, my background wouldn't be created, and then without my family, I wouldn't be supported to where I am now. And then basketball, because if I didn't have basketball, I don't know what I would be doing.
I don't know what I'd be doing either. Probably going crazy, huh?
Yeah. And then that's also my dream. And then also God, because without God, I wouldn't be on the earth. And then also my last one is my ADHD.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I find it it's not just in the podcast where you're saying it's not a bring down, it's more of a superpower. So I find it to be a superpower for me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome, yeah.
I think it is too. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right, well, I hope that you guys were able to jot down some things to be grateful for. And like we said, leave us comments, share with us. We would love to hear some of those things that you're grateful for. And if you need some support too, we'd love to be there for that. But This is your episode of gratitude for Talking Wellness, and we're wishing everybody a happy holidays. See you next week.
Yay! Woo!